Okay, so here's Peter Hitchens masterfully exposes the farcical nature of net zero to the absolute dismay of BBC Question Time panelists and audience members. So let's hear what he has to say. This is the brother of Christopher Hitchens.
What do people actually think they're achieving? Anybody can look at it's called the energy dashboard. You can get it up on your computer anytime and see on a normal day in this country where the power which is lighting your home and your place of work and everything else you see, where it's coming from. And on a day when the wind isn't blowing, it's largely coming from gas, or it's coming from imported power, which quite often comes from the Netherlands, where they still burn coal. We don't burn coal anymore because we didn't just close down our coal-fired power stations, we blew them up. We were so certain we were right to do so. At the same time, China is, even as we speak, building the equivalent of two new coal-fired power stations a week. India has a vast expansion program of coal-fired power stations, even if George is right about his tremendous predictions of apocalypse. Even if he's right, the contribution which this country is making by what it's doing to these outcomes is not merely minimal, it's non-existent. Everything that we do is completely blotted out by what much larger countries are doing to maintain their own power. Now, if you want to live in a country with net zero, if you want to live in a country where nobody can afford to heat their house, where people have incredibly expensive and largely non-functioning heat pumps inflicted on them, if you want that kind of thing to happen to you, if you want lots of people to lose their jobs because there's no energy, if you want to be cold all the time, if you want the computers which make life possible in practically every form of life to shut down every so often, then carry on believing that the demand to go for net zero, to keep it in the ground, is intelligent and thoughtful.
Yeah, this is an argument I make in Canada all the time, is that because, of course, the Trudeau administration and the NDP here are obsessed with climate and with fossil fuels and emissions, right? The truth is that Canada could disappear off the earth tomorrow. All of it, all industry, everything could disappear off the face of the earth tomorrow, and it would not change the global climate one bit. We can't. We simply don't contribute enough to it in the first place, right? We're at about between 1% and 2% of the world. Again, as he said, China's building new coal plants constantly, a couple a week. I think it's actually even more than that. Canada cannot change global climate. Neither can the UK. Neither can the Netherlands. You put them all together, it still won't make any difference because it's Asia, it's India. It's a totally pointless exercise. The wise thing to do was that if there are going to be changes that we can anticipate, well, then you prepare for those, with like engineering, levies, that sort of thing. And maybe you take another look at forestry policy, that sort of thing. Right? Those are the same things that you can do. And while you're doing that, you could maybe be replacing some of your own coal plants with maybe like modular nuclear plants or something. That would actually do something. I mean, it wouldn't change the world climate. That's not going to, but at least there'd be less pollution where you live. So that'd be all right. The problem is with a modern technological civilization that it's all about energy. If you don't have it, you don't have one, right? If you don't have it, if you don't have lots of energy, lots of cheap energy, you don't have an economy. You don't have a high-tech technological civilization. You don't, because it just comes down to energy. Lots of abundant, cheap energy. So what are the things that are going to create the power sources for the future? Because, wind isn't going to do it. Solar's not going to do it. We're not there yet, right? But if you have a wealthy technological society, who knows? Maybe you're the country that can create cold fusion or something. Who knows? But that's the only thing you can do. Again, Canada or the UK could just disappear off the map tomorrow. Both of them could. Won't make a fucking bit of difference. It's not going to change the global climate at all. So that's what he's getting at there.